Here's how to make this mockup in Affinity. Click the link in the description and download this image from Pexels. Drag the image over this top portion of the window. That will create a new document. If you're hovering over this canvas area, then when you let go, it'll add it as a layer, which we don't want. Making a mockup is going to be super easy with this picture because it has a plain white canvas inside the picture frame. So we're going to go to the pixel mode and hit W on the keyboard to switch to your magic wand tool. Then click anywhere on this white portion and it will select it. Next, we're going to go up to Vector, Convert to Curves, and that will turn our selection into a curve. Even though there's a plant down here, it crops out the plant, which is pretty convenient as well. If you want to fix this here, you can click to add a node, and then it's just, you got to be very careful. Sculpt's kind of around the shape here. Something like that. And then to check to make sure that this actually looks good, because right now we're looking at it as a vector, click on this button up here and that will allow us to view it as a pixel. Don't worry about this 1 pixel black border around the whole thing. That's just the picture frame. That'll be gone once we add a picture in. But I am just going to go around here and adjust these a little bit. By the way, if you hold Alt or Option, you can control each handle freely. Otherwise, the way it works is, I'll show you on this guy. Dragging one handle will drag the other one, but if I hold Alt, it'll constrain it. Like that. There are some pixels that are showing. That's okay. Honestly, it's so minor and we're viewing it from so far. Like, you're not really going to notice those pixels. So we have cleaned it up, and if you really want, you can clean it up even more. But I think that's okay for now. So now what we can do is right click and convert this to a picture frame. And already we can take a poster and drag it over the picture frame and it will add it into the picture frame. Now it's important to mention, if you're doing mockups, it's better and easier that the mockup you're using is the same format as the design. By that I mean, since this is a mockup for a poster, then we should be throwing in a poster, because posters are certain aspect ratios, so it's automatically going to fit in the picture frame and I don't have to do any weird tweaking with the image. So I'll drop my poster in just like that, and because the aspect ratio is the same as the pick canvas of our mockup, then it fits perfectly in there just like that. So there we go, we have our mockup done. We're like 60% there, but the thing is, my poster doesn't look integrated into the environment very much. And so what we want to do now is add a couple of effects and mess with the image a bit to make it look like it actually belongs in the scene. And that's what's going to make your mockups look truly professional. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lock the background here because I don't want to accidentally move it around. There's a couple of important things to understand when trying to integrate something like a poster into a mockup. When you're designing a poster and you're viewing it on your screen, we have these solid blocks of color. So it's one color all the way throughout. The thing is, when you take a picture of something, there's actually little bits of light, different amounts of light hitting it constantly, which means that the color is going to be slightly different across the canvas. And so if we look at this picture here, we can see that there's a light source coming from this side and there's shadow right here. So we want to model that behavior with our poster. So here's what I think is the best way to do that. I'm going to controller command click on my curves layer here, and I'm going to go to vector, convert to curves, and I get a whole new rectangle. So now with the new curve selected that I just made, I'm going to hit G to go to my gradient tool, and I'm going to change it to radial. And I'm going to draw a gradient from the top left corner and just draw something across like that. So I'm going to click on this node here and set it to white, and then click on this next node, set it to white as well, but then I'm going to turn the opacity all the way down. If yours says noise, then just click on the little circle underneath it and it will switch it to opacity, and then you can just drag it down like that. All right, there we go. And I'm just gonna mess around with this a little bit. Now what I want to do is mess with this opacity here because this is too bright. So if we bring it down to somewhere about 30%, I think that's a good sweet spot. It's definitely more integrated into the scene here. I'm going to pull the midpoint out again, just like that. It doesn't have to be exact, but pretty close is good enough. Now the next thing that we need to do to make this look integrated into the scene is add some kind of shadow right here along the edge of the picture frame, because what I imagine is we have the picture frame here and then the poster underneath, and so there will be a shadow cast in this space. So let's do that. To do that, I'm going to click this rectangle, Control or Command J to duplicate it, and then I'm just going to set it to black, and then hit 0 on the numpad or change the opacity to 100%. Now what I can do is change the blend mode to screen, which is going to make it disappear, but don't freak out. It still should be selected. Now click on the layer effects button, and we're going to go add an inner shadow. So we'll click that and we'll add an offset, and we'll zoom in here to see what it's looking like. So it's adding a shadow on this left edge and on this top edge, just like that. Now I'm going to adjust the offset angle, so something like 345 should do it. And then I'm going to increase this offset to about 20 pixels. That looks good. And increase the radius to 5 pixels. There we go. That looks mostly good. If anything, the shadow is too strong, so I'm going to bring this down to about 30%. Now we can close that. And if we zoom out, we see there's a bit of glare, there's a shadow being cast, and even the plants cast a little shadow over it as well, which kind of makes it fit in a little better. So now we have a pretty solid mock-up here. And the cool thing is I'm going to lock these two effect layers, and I'm going to group them together. So without the effects, it looks like that, and with them, they look much more integrated. But now I can click on the picture frame and I can replace the image with anything that I want. So if I have another poster design that I want to use, I can very easily create a whole new mockup just by switching out this image. And if you want a major pro tip, instead of putting a picture in here, put one of your Affinity files in the picture frame. You can do that by simply dragging it over the picture frame and releasing, and you can check to make sure it's input right here. Now come up to Document, Resource Manager, and make sure that this says that the placement is linked. If it says embedded, just click on this button down here to make it linked like that. So what that means is we can come to our document, and if I make a change to it, like let's say I move this up and I save my design, when I come back into the mockup, it automatically updates it for me. This way you don't have to render out an image and place it on your mockup again. It updates every time you save. So I didn't like the change. Let me put it back and save it. It lets you know that it changed. And when we come back, the mockup has changed too. Super useful. Now, in order to make this reusable and easy to find in Affinity, what we can do is come up to File, come down to Export, and then export it as a template. Save that somewhere that you'll remember it, because now if you come up here and click on the Affinity logo and then click on the Home button, you can click on this tab called My Templates. You can then come up here and add a folder for your templates. So by clicking into this folder, we see that I have a mock-up for this poster, and because I also had this design file in the folder, it shows up here as well. But now we can easily create new mock-ups based off of this template. So I just come in here and I can replace my image, and I have a totally unique, different mockup, which is pretty cool. And now you know how to make a poster mockup in Affinity. Peace out.